Hi Piyush,
Yes, hi.
welcome to Sudeep Audio's channel.
Yes.
Could you please tell us about your initial days in music and some points in life that made you decide that you wanted to be a musician?
Aditya, it's a long journey. It started off as a kid, I wanted to be a doctor.
Okay.
Okay.
Which is
And
actually surprising because many parents want you to be a doctor and I mean their
I don't
children
know.
to be
My
a
father, who's no more, he wanted me to be a doctor somehow, and he was a very successful criminal lawyer. And I don't know why, but a family में doctor होना चाहिए or whatever. So since childhood, it was like one goal or whatever. Some कि doctor बनना है. Or I got some 85% in my HSC. So to get into medicine, it's like as good as failing because you need 95, 98 and whatever. So अभी क्या करें? डॉक्टर तो नहीं बन सकते. तो let's become a lawyer.
अच्छा,
Life becomes easy, ना?
correct.
कि father is a lawyer, so सब clients अपने पास आ जाएंगे and whatever.
Set business.
हाँ, so set एकदम है life में. So that was the time, and after slogging out in science for so many years, practicals and journals and Bhola's classes and Agarwal classes and waking up at 6 in the morning. When I changed to arts, life was like एकदम वैक्यूम कि अभी वो काम धंधा ही नहीं है, अभी क्या करने का, क्योंकि लेक्चर्स नहीं, प्रैक्टिकल्स नहीं, जर्नल्स नहीं, नो बोलास एंड नथिंग, तो अभी टाइम ही टाइम है. सो दैट वाज द टाइम व्हेन आई स्टार्टेड एक्चुअली गेटिंग सीरियस अबाउट म्यूजिक. आई यूज्ड टू प्ले सिंस आई वाज अ किड.
Play what?
Some instruments, like I'm ऐसे सुन के, no training, nothing, by ear जिसको बोलते हैं. और ये तो there was one composer on our 7th floor in my building.
Okay.
They did music for some 2-3 films. Vinod Khanna and Reena Chandavarkar and what was the movie? Kaid. So we used to call him Ashok Kaka. तो now cricket खेलते खेलते कभी बॉल गया नीचे तो वो ब्रेक आता है ना, जिसने मारा वो लेके आए, तो तब तक देयर इज नथिंग एल्स टू डू. तो अशोक काका के घर पे यूज्ड टू गो टू हैव वाटर और लाइक टू काका पानी पीना है और ये वो. सो एंड वो टाइम पे उनके घर पे कुछ सिटिंग चालू होता था, ऑल द म्यूजिशियंस वुड बी सिटिंग अराउंड एंड तो अरे बच्चों आओ चल आई टीच यू समथिंग. तो आई यूज्ड टू सिट इन हिज लैप एंड ही वुड लाइक टीच मी सम ट्यून एंड आई वुड पिक अप इन लाइक 2 minutes. So he told my father that this guy seems to be a musical guy, so teach him something and let him pursue like some more music. So I used to go to some classes and learn harmonium, but it was a very casual thing. I was not passionate about it in those days. Whatever I could do or play or whatever was like inbuilt kind of a thing. But like I said, then after I shifted to arts, then that whole, after like so many years of science, I had all the time in the world to do whatever I liked. That was the time I actually started learning music. And I used to learn from one Mr. Lobo, one Catholic guy. I started learning guitar and piano and all that in those days. And reading and writing, and like that was actually the most serious phase where music. And then one good exposure in life was like in college I met Tawfiq. So everyone used to, अरे Zakir भाई का भाई, Zakir Hussain का भाई, so it was like Tawfiq यानी, but then I met up with him, it was like अरे चलो यार चाय पीते हैं, अरे चलो यार, that college,
Correct.
how guys are in college. So he was the same. It was not like something like अरे कोई some superstar or whatever. And that was like one great thing to go to his place and like 4 बजे we would be doing some music or talking about music और suddenly कुछ बेल बजती है तो कौन आया, तो गुलाम अली आ गए या मेहंदी हसन खान साहब आ गए, लाइक सम बिग गाय. अरे बस बॉम्बे में था तो मिलने के लिए आ गया. एंड अब्बा जी तौफिक्स फादर वाज नो मोर, उस्ताद अल्लाह रखा, वो फिर बोलते थे बेटे चलो हारमोनियम लेके. एंड आई वुड बी अरे गुलाम अली मेहंदी हसन के साथ लाइक व्हाट डू आई प्ले, ऐसे ही सीखने को मिलेगा, गलती करो और सीखो, कोई डांट नहीं पड़ेगी, डोंट वरी अबाउट इट. So that was a great exposure, working with then Zakir Hussain, himself was like so encouraging. He could get any programmer or whoever on this earth, for his music, but he somehow had faith in us. कि नहीं बच्चे लोग चलो तुम करो, program my song or produce my song, arrange my song, or whatever jingles in those days. And I used to do a lot of Taj jingles, Wah Taj. So it was scary in the beginning, but then after working like for 1, 2, 3, 5 projects, it was like more of a friendly thing where we could ask him also कि ये कैसे होता है जाकिर भाई हमको समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, and he would teach us. And so that learning curve was like from here to straight away 90 degrees in those days, shoot tap ekdam upar. So that was the basic like training phase, I would say, where I came across some very good musicians from all over the world, staying around with Tawfiq and Zakir bhai, and so some great musicians would just interact, and we could get a chance to talk to them and learn, like including Ustad Sultan Khan sahab or whoever, McLaughlin, John McLaughlin, and you would like, "Arey," then you would talk about some kisse and kahani and stories, and of course some technical things. ये कैसे होता है, ये कैसे, how do you play this chord, and so it was fun-filled music journey, I would say. The training part.
Right.
The best thing that I learned in those days was that training never stops. And then that antenna एक बार ऊपर हो जाता है, and then you want to learn from whatever source you have. Now we have from now I know there are so many kids who can learn from YouTube. You want to play, you want to learn some instrument or like some whatever, some vocal technique or whatever. You can actually just hunt for like some lessons on the net and learn. But in those days it was not possible. So like this was, I think I was very lucky to come across such guys.
How did you get into it commercially full time? No pressure from parents कि चलो hobby time pass हो गया.
That was one great thing, and hats off to my parents. They were like
they were okay with it.
Yeah, especially because my father was like being one educated guy. He was okay with the whole idea that it's your life and you have to do what you enjoy the most. You don't need to become a lawyer just because I'm a lawyer. If you have faith in yourself and you're passionate about something, you can go ahead. And you still got me to fall back on or whatever. We are there with you. So
okay.
Do whatever you like. Yeah, so that phase was like, and then training. Every small thing will also teach you something. So we used to play for like college bands, college day and all those functions. So we used to form a band and play together for those functions, and yeah, even Dandiya. And me and Tawfiq formed one fusion band called Surya, and it was very primitive, but it was a learning thing finally. Everything will teach you something in life.
That's true.
Yeah, whatever you do.
And what kind of films did you take up, and song production or background scores? And could you
Oh, that was much later. Initially it was, I wanted to play like, Chick Corea and Herbie Hancock and Louis Banks and like local guys, even Dinsha, one very dear friend. So playing was the bhoot ekdam कि अरे ऐसा बजाना, all those things.
Which instrument?
Piano.
Okay.
Yeah, but then a friend of mine was producing one children's play. It was called Gadbad Bhat Ladu Chat. So he said, "तू compose करेगा?" बोला कि I have never composed in my life. क्या होता है? अरे बस I'll give you the lyrics. You set it to tune, and that's composing. बोला कि अच्छा, okay, let's try. And it was very bad music, but it was a turning point, I would say, where I got exposed to like something called composing music, creating music, and that turned out to be the most beautiful thing that I had experienced in my life. And after that, that playing part became kind of like sidelined in a way, okay? Because to do a tune, which is like creating a baby, it's like such a, you create a new tune and it's like, wow, kya baat hai, maza aa gaya, it's a creation rather than playing some sheet music or whatever, so that's how that composing Kida or that trip started.
Okay.
Yeah, then I did a lot of plays because then another guy was making another like children's play, Hathi Ghoda Palki, Jai Kaniya Lal Ki, and so it started that way.
Okay.
So after doing those like kiddie kind of like stuff, then it was like commercial plays which started, where it was like serious music. No kacha pacha nahi chalta hai udhar, so like so those recordings and that experience of like composing, then it teaches you something, then you grow. So slowly, when it happened at the right time. So then some serious plays happened, where it was like you had to create some very specific kind of like bring out some specific emotions from your music, like thriller or suspense or sadness or romance or whatever. Then after doing a lot of plays, it was, and some very very big plays, and English and all Hindi and Gujarati, and so that composing thing was like now a set thing now, and that was the stage when I was actually sure that this is what I want to do in life forever.
Right.
And my parents were also very happy with that, family, I mean in general, that Cholo now he's actually doing something. And yeah, and that money part was also like touchwood. I was like not I could afford to maybe like not run after money, I would say, because I came from a family where it was survival was not a problem ever. So I could pursue like what I liked and kind of like reject some things which I didn't want to do, which could be like maybe like very non-musical kind of stuff. So just for the like money's sake, you do everything that comes your way. So that was not the case in
your
my thing was one film called Train to Pakistan with one lady called Pamela Rooks. She was from London, and this is Khushwant Singh's novel, and called Train to Pakistan. Then she made a movie out of that, and that was the first film that we did. And after that, quite a few like, but the most important I think project I would say in my life was the film called Gandhi, My Father, Anil Kapoor production. And because Feroz Khan, being one old friend, the director of the film, we had already worked for like some plays and some many projects. So he said, Piyush, एक problem है यार. बोले क्या है problem? I'm doing this movie and it's a very big film, and frankly, Anil Kapoor wants A.R. Rahman to do music for the film, but I have convinced him that try तो करो यार, देखो फिर कैसा होता है. So now it's up to you यार, देखो the ball is kind of in your court kind of a thing, अभी तू क्या करेगा उसके ऊपर सब depend करेगा. I said yeah, ठीक है यार, I mean why not, let's give it a shot. And that was like, not because it's my music, but that was, I can actually say it was like good music that I
and it was
created.
well appreciated also.
It was, yeah.
So
And the fun part was, normally most of the things are like done on keyboards these days to start with, because you don't have much time. And when you have live orchestra or live musicians playing for you, that would add up to the cost and the time factor and everything. But the kind of samplers and like kind of softwares that we work with these days, it's very easy to create like one 70-piece orchestra kind of a sound only through the machines. But all said and done, nothing like real musicians playing that music with that human feel.
Yes.
So the best part was to the good thing, I didn't have to convince them, my producers and whatever, that let's go live. Not a single sound will be from the synth. Yeah, then what? I said let's write for, let's call for some real orchestra string section and let's record the music. Okay, I mean, your baby, go ahead. So we went to Rahman's studio in Chennai and recorded with some great musicians who've been playing with the greats like Ilayaraja all these years, and they are exposed to, because that's my first love. Doing orchestral music is my first love. I mean, not that you don't connect to rest of the like styles of music, but given a choice, I would love to write for violins and viola and cello, and that's my passion, because that sound does something to me. That's like you are in some other world. So we went to Rahman's studio and we recorded with live some 70-piece orchestra, and it was great fun to score for that. That was a very big thing.
Is there any theme that you can play us from that if you remember, or can you sing us some theme or tune?
In fact, it's a very different interpretation of Raghupati Raghav Rajaram. You can call it orchestral interpretation of, it is a traditional tune, but the way the makeup part is like very different. How the song is like produced with strings and all that happening, with different chords and different lines and different parts moving around. At the same time, not killing that soul or that mood of the spirit of the song.
Okay.
So
Sure, we'll play it to our viewers also.
sure,
so
sure.
that they can be fresh in the
Yeah,
memory.
we'll arrange for it. Okay.
Okay. And what are the projects that you are doing now, and what is happening in your musical life?
I just completed one Gujarati film. It's called Saptapadi, and with due respect to the films which are made in past, but I think that saturation point is kind of like arrived I think long back when it comes to especially regional films and especially Gujarati films, because every film would have like some kind of dandiya ras and that whole gaon ka thing and bapu and. But this film, and the good thing is it's produced by Amitabh Bachchan Corporation. So it's like a very big film. And it doesn't have any dandiya or nothing against dandiya, but we need that change. We need that fresh kind of like look and new style in even regional films. So this is one film which is called Saptapadi, and please check it out. It's coming out soon now. And me and my very, very dear friend Rajat Dholakia, we have done music together for this. So there's some funky songs in Gujarati and some nice upmarket sounding background score and
Great. We all look forward to seeing that.
sure, okay.
Thanks for spending some time with us, Piyush.
Thanks.